Three, two, one, go. Good morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. Boogie with the Bull. Monday morning caffeine. Dave Born and Randy Rhodes with you. Grab a fresh cup of coffee. Sit down. News of interest to you. The best, most important things that Randy and I found to bring you this morning, or be a profile, or the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, and you can tell us that you want to discuss, and we will go from there. This broadcast will end at 11 a.m. today, and so that Randy can return to doing his whoa, so that Randy can return to doing his, so that Randy can return to doing his genealogy work, and my wife and I can run out and buy important crochet crafting items that you have to have in your house. So we will run out today's broadcast. I'm going to throw in for a start, if no one has read or heard by now, that evidently the Harris administration, Biden administration, Harris Biden administration, whatever you want to call it, Inspector General, not to release their report on January 6th. The report, it clearly says that the FBI had 100 assets posed as Trump supporters at the January 6th, whatever happened at the Capitol.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I guess it was a Halloween party. Come dressed as you are, and 100 FBI employees were dressed as Trump supporters. So it clearly shows their involvement in it, at least at some point. And the Democrats probably are thinking that that could hurt Kamala Harris's chances of being elected. Show that Trump wasn't involved in the planning if the FBI sent 100 FBI agents, because I don't believe he would have allowed 100 FBI agents to go and dress as Trump supporters. But I digress for a second. So that is the big thing for me today. Go search it and find it. What do you got, Randy?
Oh, I have quite a bit in today's news forecast from Studio 6. Studio 6 crashed and burned 2 days ago, folks. I'm sorry
Okay,
about that.
okay, okay.
Okay, so what we have here going on is quite a few things. I'm going to hit it off with the potentially the third assassination attempt yesterday at the rally. Uh, there's not much information coming out as of yet. But the Secret Service found a man from Las Vegas who was armed, but not only armed, he actually had ammunition inside the gun, which I guess makes that worse because he's at a Trump rally. But the big thing for him is he had on him multiple ID cards. So now the police and Secret Service have to figure out who this guy is and where he came from and what his reason for showing up at a rally with a weapon. So because of that, they canceled the rally early. And this is going to hurt Trump. I hate to say it, but Trump's going to take a big hit for this. According to him, close to 100,000 people showed up at the rally. So if his numbers are correct, it makes the situation even worse. According to the news media, it was only 15,000. So, who's telling the truth? I don't know. The big part of the story is that there was no bus transportation to take them back to their cars. Apparently, they parked their cars like 5 miles away from the event, and whoever is responsible for organizing the rally neglected to make sure there's bus transportation taking the people back to their parked cars.
Well,
Um,
if you look at it from a security point of view, unfortunately, you exodus of somewhere between 15,000 and 100,000 people getting on buses, going to the wherever they park their cars, and you don't know if the shooters are among them. So, or if there were or people involved, whether there was more than one shooter in the crowd or not. So, maybe from I understand the inconvenience of having to figure out how you get back, but the question is, if you got on a bus with someone who had a gun and was going to start shooting, would you have made it back to your car? So, uh,
I mean, coming from a standpoint of that thought pattern where you're being, you know, tapped down for, police are checking you for weapons and so forth and checking your ID for the slowdown of the return to where their cars are parked. The big thing is that there is no buses even scheduled to take them back.
right, because they canceled the rally, so there were bus drops from where people were parked to get them to the rally at a particular time before the rally started, so that they would all be in there and sitting down. The rally ended. Buses were there to pick them up because the buses were supposed to be back there at a specific time to make sure they were set up to pick up the people and leave. So it's kind of a clusterfuck on everybody's side. And obviously, there was no parking nearby for the buses to pull in and sit and just wait. They had to go somewhere and leave, and they most likely went back to their local terminals and sat ended. The buses had to be back there ready to be lined up to load and go. So I mean, from a scheduling, you know, they didn't keep any buses nearby if something happened and they suddenly had to evacuate. And you know,
See, that's the thing that draws that. First off, I disagree with you, but I think you're taking your standpoint from the point of they used to have limousine service. So if you were scheduled to be somewhere and do something, that was part of the schedule. But the fact that there wasn't even, but from what I'm reading here from this particular news guy, is that there wasn't even any buses on the schedule to take them back. There's buses scheduled to take them there, but not to take them back to where they came from.
okay,
So that's a
then
mistake on someone's part.
okay. Okay. So in that case, what I'm assuming is everybody who got on a bus at a place where they parked their car to go back was told ahead of time there will not be buses there to pick you up and bring you. You will have to figure out a way, get a cab, get an
You
Uber,
okay? So
and
that's that
get
that,
you
that
there.
I see. If that's the
Normally,
case,
because
okay.
normally,
If I was going to go to a rally, and again, we just supplementing here because we have no more reason. We have no proof right now as to what happened, as to what's being reported by the people on the ground. They said that there was 20 buses to take them 5 miles from where they parked to where the rally is. But
okay,
when this situation occurred, there was no buses taking them back. Uh, but there was no indications there was even according to them there was no indication that there was any buses even scheduled to take them back.
okay,
Now, now talking about what you just said about a case of emergency, that's a sad situation. If you got, let's say, 100,000 people at a rally, and shit hits the fan, okay, that like a was it June 7th thing, like Israel, okay, you got 100,000 people that are scrambling to try and get out of harm's way. There
but
should always been buses there just sitting. I mean, when I was in school and we had the school buses took us to an event, the buses parked nearby. The drivers spent the next 2 hours doing whatever the hell they were doing, and then they got in their buses and they can't pick up the kids. You would think as adults, they would have these 20 bus drivers, pay them to sit around, do absolutely nothing, and then when it's time to leave, pick up the people and leave.
well, there. there are two ways to approach that from a transportation business point of view. One is that you got paid, they booked 20 buses to pick up people somewhere at a parking garage or whatever and drive them and drop them off, and that's it. They leave. There, if they had scheduled a ride for the end of the rally, the buses may have pulled up if they could an hour before the rally ended to be where they were, where they dropped people. If not, then it was just a pickup at wherever the cars were parked to the rally. That's it. So you have to go back and find out either from the bus company, was it a pickup and drop, and that's it, or a pickup and drop, and then go back after the rally, or at a be there setup so that when the rally ended, they could get on your buses and go back. It's usually two different things because in most cases where he's doing rallies, there isn't a place there where the buses can sit and wait. Also, the bus company isn't going to sit 20 buses there unless they're getting paid for the 20 buses to sit there because most private bus companies in their local terminals don't have more than 20 buses. So they've got jobs booked once they drop them at the rally until whatever time they had to be back to pick them up to do. It's it's a it's something they can't from a security point of view. It's something you can't worry about. You just had a situation that you had to end the rally early, and people were on their own to to get, get back to
Okay, change the
if they
subject.
at the even if they called the bus company could have said, "Oh, I'm sorry, all 20 of our buses are out until your rally was going to end at 10 o'clock. We had to be back there at 9:30, lined up and ready to load. It's 5:30. You ended the rally. There's nothing we can do. We can start sending buses, but by the time we get all 20 buses there, everybody's going to be out of there."
Okay. Let's leave this conversation as we disagree in how that should be done. I can understand your mindset coming from a business mindset. You know, you got 20 buses sitting around doing nothing. They could be doing something somewhere else. Blah blah. Blah. I got that. But at the same token, from an individual thinking, then I'm going to change subjects. An individual thinking is you got 100,000 people here. You don't know, hopefully everything goes fine. The buses show up at, let's say, 10 o'clock and take everyone back to their parking spaces. According to them, the buses weren't even scheduled to come back and get them. If that's the case, then that's a clusterfuck on someone on Trump's campaign. The other thing is not having the buses there in case of a catastrophe, like a madman shooter. You got 100,000 people potentially with no way of getting out of harm's way. Again, I think that's a clusterfuck on Trump's campaign because he does not have the ability to remove quickly someone, his fans, if there was a situation that occurred. So moving on, here's something else that absolutely blows my mind. First off, why did it take 1 year for this to become news? And second, how in the hell did this even happen? Over a dozen, I get this, over a period of 17 days last year, a fleet of drones was numbered at least 12. These drones are 20-foot long. Okay, so they're huge. They're not like little homemade things you put together. 20-foot drones flying over a military base in Virginia, just willy-nilly flying over the entire base for hours without being shot down, without being in any way brought down or identified. So what they're saying is, well, maybe these are just drone enthusiasts from Russia or China flying their drones over our military base. Well, even if they are enthusiasts coming from Russia and China, you tell me they don't have cameras on those drones? So
I,
for 17 days, they're flying over this base and they couldn't shoot the damn thing down?
But they also didn't admit to you that maybe it is us training drone pilots and doing drone exercises flying over the base. I understand what you're saying because everybody assumes when they see 20 things flying over, they're going to automatically expect the worst. If it was Russia and and that base had reason to believe that they were Russian drones in U.S. airspace refusing orders to leave U.S. airspace or be shot down, they would have just been shot down. Well, provided that the Secretary of Defense, whoever his name is, gave the order to shoot them down.
Okay, this here answers the whole damn thing. Let me read this two paragraphs, and then you're gonna get a laugh at the last paragraph. Okay. So the drones would start to arrive about 45. So they know they're on a fucking schedule. The drones would start to arrive about 45 minutes to an hour after sunset each night. One official told U.S. Air Force General Mark Kelly, he's an asshole to start with, who
Right.
joined several other officers responsible for the country's most advanced jet fighters, including F-22 Raptors. This is the general who is fucking in charge of our most advanced jet fighters, and he's being told that his drones flying over his military bases, and he does absolutely nothing. Kelly described the first drone he saw was roughly 20 feet and flying at more than 100 miles an hour at an altitude between 3 and 4,000 feet. As many as a dozen or more drones flying across Chesapeake Bay toward Norfolk, Virginia, through a space overlooking the base for the Navy's SEAL Team 6 and Naval Station in Norfolk, the world's largest naval port, okay? The report said officials cannot determine if hobbyists or adversaries such as China or Russia were responsible. Reports of the matter reached, now here's the funny part, okay? Reports of the matter reached President Biden. Sorry, I'm not joking on that one.
Okay.
And resulted in 2 weeks of meetings at the White House, which brought out no answers. So they talked about it for 2 freaking weeks and couldn't determine who the hell these drones belong to or why flying over a base that has F-22s, why the hell didn't they get launched and shoot the motherfuckers ones down? That makes no sense to me. That is a disgrace to our military.
Okay. But again, I mean, I understand what you're saying and I hear it from your point of view. But again, if Biden had said, we have evidence that they are from China, they are from Russia, our Secretary of Defense would have probably get down. Or he would have come out publicly and said, everybody calm down. It's just a training mission with military drone pilots flying things over, and you don't need to be worried about it, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not China or Russia either. But I mean, otherwise, anytime people see anything flying over any military base, they're just going to the bases are going to just automatically shoot it down. And if that's
Well,
what,
well, come on, they should.
if that's what it is, okay. But
If it,
you don't know. All I'm saying is you don't know if our military on the ground informed the drones that they are in United States airspace. They don't have permission to be in that space. If they don't leave, they're going to be shot down. Or our
okay,
military just
but Dave, these are drones. There's no man flying the drone, so you
That's
can't
incorrect.
communicate.
That's incorrect. There's not a man in the drone.
That's what I'm saying. There's no person flying the drone.
That's incorrect. There's a human on the ground.
Okay, now a human back there, but not inside the drone itself.
There's a
Okay,
camera in the drone so that the human knows where the drone is.
Okay, I understand that, but there's nothing saying that this drone has a capacity of hearing someone communicate to us. So it's not like I'm on the ground with the radio saying to the drone, "Hey, drone, you're flying in a restricted area." Oh, I'm sorry. Shoot me down.
Okay.
I don't think the drones. Okay, first off, they don't know because they didn't shoot them down. They didn't, send up a plane and follow them back to where they came from to start with. There's absolutely nothing.
When we shot down the weather balloons
Yeah,
after
finally,
after the state
after they
made
flew across the damn country.
right, but when we shot them down, remember that it was China. Everybody was telling Biden it was China. Anyway, you should shoot them down. I believe our military at that time was saying, "Hey, you need to shoot them down, or let us go in and shoot them down." Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying. Okay. 2 weeks of meetings to decide what they're going to do is just Democrats, obviously, who were involved in whatever it was with whoever was flying them over this country illegally and not saying just shoot them down. Had it been Ronald Reagan, he would have just shot them down. Had it been George Bush, I don't know if he would have shot them down because it depends who sent them there and who the Bush family was allies with at that time. But the point is, I would think our Secretary of Defense would look at 20 or so drones being up in the sky over our military air bases at the same time every night as some kind of fact find we violated your airspace. I don't believe that for a drone, for as fancy a drone it was, that some other government doesn't realize when it's flying under and blown out of the sky.
Yeah. So wow. So this is the second one that we appear to disagree
I
on.
like it. They flew
You're taking it from the standpoint, if I understand correctly, there's no big
no,
thing. Don't worry about it.
no, I'm not saying that Biden. I'm not saying anything about Biden not taking it seriously. I'm saying we don't have any information. Meaning,
But Dave, the 14 days these drones were flying over a military base. I'm sure he would have been notified the very first time the drones showed up. He should have gave if they show up again, shoot them down so we know where they're coming from. It's the
well,
whole
obviously
it's the whole
Biden didn't say
weather
that.
balloon situation over again. We had the damn weather balloons flying over the entire country so damn slow you could probably shoot with a BB gun, and no one said to shoot it down.
Right.
They could see there's
A week later, Biden said
camera
shoot it.
attached to it.
Right, but a week later, Biden said shoot down those
A
balloons.
week, but Dave,
But it was too late, Randy. That's
yeah,
all
I
I'm
know.
saying. We
I'm
have a
saying,
military. We have a military. They know what to do. They don't. If they thought they needed to shoot them down, odds are they would have just shot them down. Our military would have shot them down and answered to Congress, who probably would have said, "Yeah, you did the right thing by shooting them down."
okay, let's change subjects. Here, let's talk about a government that actually takes things seriously and actually acts on them. Okay, Israel hit inside Iran, killing several major leaders, of which one, his name is Kwani. He's some kind of military officer based on his uniform here. So they took out some major players in the terrorist attacks against Israel. He was the deceased Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force leader with a whole mouthful of stuff here.
Right?
He also was
They
taken
should have
out.
done that a long time ago.
Right. Well, now they have reasons to because Iran is actually shooting missiles
Right.
into Israel.
Right. But that's the difference between Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, and Joe Biden,
Yeah,
I would. That's why Biden. That's why Netanyahu
if
doesn't like
I
it.
had a choice. If I had a choice, I would have the Israeli prime minister as the president of our country because this is a man that doesn't take shit. If you attack our country, we're going to respond back with an equal or not greater force. That's the man that you want to protect your
Well,
nation, not
Michael's
what we
saying
have
that
in the
they
White
were told
House.
to stand down by the commander in chief. Well,
But look
you
at the
know,
commander in
that's
chief.
a-
The commander in chief is allows them transgender. She allows them men to dress
but
in
I'm
girls'
not.
uniforms.
But I'm not
The
saying
guy's
that.
an asshole.
Michael said that they were told by the commander-in-chief to stand down, so they stood down. Congress
That makes no sense.
Congress should have immediately gone into some kind of
Sorry, Michael. I hope you don't agree with that, Michael.
session. I don't know what Michael agrees with, but I'm just saying if they was told to stand by and stand down and not shoot down the drones by the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, and I have to believe Michael because of the time, Michael is generally right when he says something like that. They were told to stand down. Congress, obviously, the House and the Senate, both committees in each chamber, are going to pull in whoever decided to stand down and grill them and ask them why. They're going to say because the president said stand down. They're going to ask those military officers, do you think that a threat to the United States was ever at any time and you should have not stood down and just shot those things out of the sky? And if they say yes, then they're going to say, why didn't you just go ahead and do it? And then at the end of this whole thing, by the time they release the 500-page report, long after Biden has passed away, Congress's decision will be that Biden should have been, there's another reason why Biden should have been impeached because somebody declared war via drones against the United States of America every night at 6:45 or whatever time you said and got away with it until the election happened. Trump got reelected and got put in there.
This.
Because if Trump should be, it wouldn't have happened because Trump would have given the order right away. If you communicate with them and tell them to leave and they don't leave, or there's no way to communicate with them, then shoot them out of the sky because you don't know what they're carrying. And China's going to do this repeatedly. They tried it with weather balloons. Now they obviously may be trying it with drones. Biden's not going to tell China you can't do it because he gets money from China, which means to me it's another reason as to why the president should no longer be president. Michael says that he was referring to the balloon incident. I promise you, we can heat signature any type of drone. We need to identify it because everyone gives off a different EMP. Everything is identifiable. So there, they knew on the ground who they were. If they were not our drones or our allies' drones or a drone that we authorized to be there, they knew who it was. They chose to not do anything about it. Obviously, if we were in threat, that to me, that's another reason you drag Biden up there and not any one of Biden's spokespeople or Kamala Harris, who thinks she's the president right now. You grab Joe Biden and you bring him up there and you have him explain why you left. You as president didn't give a military order, blow those things out of the sky once they knew who they were. If they were not our drones up on training flights, like I said, then you should have blown those puppies out of the sky, or our allies, or something. And if they were our allies, I'm sure the president would have been notified ahead of time that North Korea is going to be doing drone flights over this military air base as an exercise, or whoever ally was doing them. Because I'm sure as soon as they entered our airspace, we knew who they were. And if they were a threat, the question that I still have is whether or not our military would have made the decision to shoot them down or wait for an order from the president to shoot them down. And then again, like I said, that whole mess is going to go to Congress after we shot them down. The military that gave the orders and the military that shot them down, along with the Biden administration, are going to have to go in and explain why them down the moment we saw that they were there, realized we could not communicate with them. Obviously, they did not have permission to be there. So So we can go around and I'm not defending Biden in any way. I'm just saying we don't have any information. The president not give American citizens any information until he absolutely has to or it slips out. Didn't give us any information. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as an American citizen, yeah, it was wrong to not try to rectify the situation by identifying them as Michael says we could have done. And then if we know that they're China and we try to communicate with them and China's not answering, Biden got ping on speed dial 24 hours a day. He could have hit the button and tried to get a Joe, tell me why there's 20 drones flying over the United States right now at 3,000 feet over military air bases, sensitive locations. And if G gave him a BS reason, he says, well, you know what? You got them down. And he hangs up and he shoots him down. Because if it was, like I said, if it was President Reagan out, maybe to try to get a reason, but at least to tell him, we're going to shoot him out of the sky as soon as I hang up. Trump probably would have said, Joe, you got 30 seconds to get them out of here, but I'm going to shoot them down anyway. Once they're out of United States airspace over international waters, I'm going to shoot them down anyway.
So I found a different article, and this makes me even more pissed off at our military and our current government. And I'm going to change subjects again. Apparently, there is a law in the book that says that the military cannot shoot down drones, even if they're flying over our military bases, taking pictures and video. Only if the drone's supposed to be if they were in if they had the ability to shoot things on the ground. But if they're just flying over our military bases, taking pictures and video, that's fine. We're not supposed to shoot them down. We're not supposed to intercept with them. And oh, by the way, because of the drones flying over this military base, they had to cancel their own military training of planes because they were afraid that our planes might collide with these drones.
Well,
So
then
you
you
know
know
what?
what, Randy? Explain to me why we don't have a fleet of fighters flying over China and Russia 24 hours a day, doing all kinds of spy reconnaissance missions. The old P-3 Orion sub-searchers that used to fly out of Moffett Field, California. Why aren't they flying over Russia and China 24 hours, same kind of spy missions, pissing off China because China and Russia know that if they shot down one of those, we would have immediately turned back with our fighter fleet and maybe a nuke or two and blew them off the face of the earth. I mean, to me, this whole thing is just a BS war game that everybody plays. I mean, Michael Anthony is saying it here. We can answer all these questions in the past, but the last 4 years, it seems we lost our technology. And I have to say to Michael, I disagree. We lost our technology. We're just not using it.
Yeah. Anyways, changing the subject. Look, talking about
After we
technology. Talking about
Okay, let me
technology.
let me let me read something that Michael said, but let me continue to answer. I believe, Michael, that you're 100% right that we have the technology, but I don't believe we lost it. We just may not be using it. I'll give you a link, Michael, but
Okay,
I
so
can't guarantee that you'll be able to
changing
use it. But I'll
subjects.
give you a link.
Remember how I said that with Russia, according to our news media, they're losing so many of their armor divisions, their military personnel, their ships, their planes, blah 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 blah. That they're going to run out of their weapons soon. And it would appear that Russia is now rolling out World War II howitzers because it appears that they may be hitting the bottom of the barrel when it comes to their uh, weapons for military combat. So Russia's very proud they have it, but the point is, this is World War II technology. Who knows? It may do better against the more sophisticated technology they have now. But the question here is that how, according to everything that was reported, Russia no longer had any weapons from World War II. So they believe this one or several others may have come from North Korea. as part as their commitment to fight alongside Russia and Ukraine. So, what do you think about this, Dave?
Well, not knowing what Joe Biden would have done, because obviously he didn't do anything. I sent you the link, Michael,
He
on
wants me to
message.
send it to him. Hold on.
Okay, I don't care. Everybody can try to send him a link. If he gets the link and he can get on, he's more than welcome to join us on the broadcast. But we're going to move on with, we're going to continue with the discussion. I don't believe that our military loses how to do something that they did 4 years ago. They didn't just wipe it out and don't have it and can't use it again. They just maybe put it on the shelf and don't use it. If they needed it, they will go back and get it. Or our weapons technology has advanced to where that 4-year-old technology is out of date and has been updated. Whereas North Korea could have given something to Russia that they have. Kim, I think, is going to tread very carefully with what he does in wars outside of North Korea, because if anybody on Korea, North and South, they're going to take out the whole thing, period. And I don't think Kim wants to be responsible for that. I think he's just teaming up with Russia right now because we have a weak president. Trump's not there at the demilitarized zone meeting with him saying, you better be a good boy or we're going to take you out. Okay? Israel and Iran, yeah, at some point this is going to move to nukes, and it's going to be Israel nuking, or it's going to be Iran nuking Israel, and Israel saying, we have had enough over 5,700 years. We have had enough. We're going to blow you off and hope that it stops. Or do enough damage to you that it stops. Then, assuming, like we did with China, everybody is going to, not China, Japan, everyone is going to come in. So, Michael, you can try the link I sent you. I sent it to Randy. I tried it to make sure that Randy would be able to connect. If you have it, you should be able to connect. Randy, you can
I
try
sent,
to
I sent it to him.
Michael can connect. Then great. We're not going to spend time with this anymore. When a broadcast is going, if someone asks for the link, we will send them the link. If they can get on, great. If not, great. We're going to continue with the broadcasts.
Bum, 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 bum,
And
bum.
Michael, you and I need to run all kinds of tests to see if there is a
Bum,
way.
bum, bum,
I can
bum.
send you a link. I can do it. I did, and I have emailed it to you before.
I already sent it to him.
But,
So
if you can get on, you're more than welcome to join us. But people not being able to use a link to get onto a broadcast is not going to become a 15, 20-minute topic of the broadcast anymore. The broadcasters don't do it either. If you can connect to their broadcast, you get on, and if you can't, you don't. So but in the past, any threat was handled before airspace was threatened. We just keep that in mind. We are using technology. Will Smith appears to distribute it in the media. So basically, what I think Michael is saying is we have technology that if those drones came from China, we would have known the minute they left China on their way here. So in theory, we probably, once they were out in international waters, would have done our best to alert everybody where this is going to happen and just send up something and blow them out of the sky. We wouldn't have done it to China. We wouldn't have done any damage to, in theory, we wouldn't have done any damage to China, people on the ground in the United States. Yeah, we would have polluted the ocean, but hopefully we have enough reconnaissance to clean up the ocean where this is all going to land, because we're going to want to capture testing anyway. I don't believe that our government, like I said, I do not believe that our government is that stupid that they didn't have the technology to know ahead of time that those things left Chinese airspace, if that's where they came from, or Russian airspace, or North Korean airspace, or anybody's airspace, to know that they were up in the air and that we were fully aware they were up in the air and we were watching they came into our airspace, that we did not contact them, even if we couldn't talk to someone operating the drone or the computer operating the drone, to let them know that if you don't leave, we're going to blow you out of the sky, giving them a warning before blowing it out of the sky. And, to me, you're awful stupid if you send a 20-foot long drone into our space, regardless of whether or not it's day or night, and we see it and we know it's there, and you can't talk to us, and we can't talk to you. You're expecting it to be blown out of the sky. Because if it was, like I said, if it was any other president besides Biden and Harris, or any deep state Democrat covering for Biden right now, if it was Trump and he knew they were in the sky, they had just left China, he'd been on the phone with China saying, turn them around, or we're going to blow them up as soon as they're out of your country in international airspace. He would have told Putin the same thing. I don't think Putin would have sent them, because I think Putin is just playing the game of whatever he has to do to continue the war with Ukraine until Trump is back in the White House and they announce the settlement that, like Trump keeps saying, I can have it settled in an hour. So obviously...
Michael said he's in the green room.
Wait, hold on. Yep, he is. Okay, Michael, go ahead.
How did you not notice me? Oh my God!
His mouth was going, but his brain wasn't.
The restream screen is totally different in the way that it's laid out than the StreamYard screen is. So it's up in the far right hand corner, and if I don't see the blue light, then I don't know. But usually, what I do when I know that we have sent a link to someone is I open up the camera so I can see as soon as you come on. But
okay, let's order some Xanax and have a party. Listen, man, look, really, at both sides here of what you both are talking about are credible thoughts. I mean, for real. But I just reflect the past technologies. We can identify anything. And one of the things that we do know about drones, we know who the inventors were. And it was a country called Iraq. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. So right now we are, looking at Israel, Iran, all these different scenarios of everything going on. But it comes down to how can they not identify, and how do they misidentify? And listen, we're admitting now that UFOs are trackable. Everything gives off a different heat signature. So I can assure you, we know ours. We can identify ours. That's the important factor, because we test ours, we flight ours, we record all the information from it. And if something comes across into our airspace, it's identifiable, it shouldn't be there, and nobody's making a move, which falls under stand on the commander-in-chief.
Right.
So who's giving the order? Is it Obama together? Is it Carmela? Because really, was she missing for 4 years in action? No, she was supporting everything, and it was in every meeting of everything that took place for the past 4 years. And it was her job to stay in the dark and control the system, because Joe was incapable of speaking to anyone basically anywhere. So she has always been an acting president of sorts, even though the title does not say that. But again, so look, everybody is like in an uproar. We're just in a position, there's a lot of heat going on, there's a lot of pressures, there's a lot of lies, manipulation, there's failure on the government, there's failure on FEMA. So, look, the best thing we can do right now with days ahead is to talk about the things respectfully between pausing, giving everybody proper time in between. So, the conversations and discussions and debates have a factuality, of positivity. But look, you guys are both right on in what your terminologies of theories are, and we're just in a mess. We're in a mess, and as we get closer to the main event on November 5th, I'm trying to focus most of my energies that way that I can. I'm not doing as much as I used to, but it's because so much is regurgitated. And but look, you two guys do really well together. It's like the good cop, bad cop, and it works on both sides. What's important here is you're discussing the information. Always remember you are discussing the information.
Yep. I apologize today. There's a lot of freezing going on temporarily between all three cameras, mine, Randy's, and now Michael is getting it as well. I don't know. I don't know if it's bad weather outside. It's sunny where we are here in Florida, but I apologize if there's a little bit of freezing here and there throughout the broadcast today. But it's like I said, I understand what you're saying, Randy, and it all. I think from your point of view, it centers around whether or not there was a stand down order from Biden or Harris or Obama or Michael Obama or somebody claiming to be president right now, and everybody accepted that. And if they did, I think, again, it's time for Congress to step in, but unfortunately, it's going to be party politics in Congress because Republicans are going to say it's just time to remove the Biden-Harris administration because they're making, and this could have brought us into a war or something with someone, which would have been a really bad decision. And then had to answer to Congress as to why they, as the military, took whatever action they wanted. I think you're 100% right. Mark Kelly is the husband of the senator or representative, I don't remember which one, who got shot really bad. And I could say this wrong, or I can just say it the way I want to say it. Michael might correct me, but I think Mark Kelly is a politician right now than he is a military officer explaining military decisions or even making military decisions. I think he wants to be over his wife's seat when she didn't run for re-election, but I believe he lost, or else he wouldn't be in the military right now. So you might be able to clarify that, Michael.
All right, I'll give you an input of thought. Where in politics has military not and somehow intervened and taken place? Our generals. Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, look, how many people became president that were in the military? Because it's politics.
Generally, what I hear is that when you are below or above in the military, because I believe Jerry has said that, and I think Bill Buckler has said the same thing. When you become as a military officer, you're more of a politician than you are I guess military officer. I don't really know. That's not really the right words. You're still in the military, but you're more of a politician, and the game is more politics, I think, than it is being.
Well, look back in the past real quick, and I'll shut up. Look what we left behind, all that equipment. Who, by the name of Molly, was actually telling the commander-in-chief it's best to leave it behind. It's not the first time we've left military equipment and aid behind either. The Vietnam War, we did it by our own weaponry of hand. So I mean, things do happen. So that's part of the political agenda. These guys are in there. They're supposed to be getting all the best intel, sophisticated uh,
Okay, you cut me for a
spies
second.
and
We'll wait.
spyware. It's
Yeah.
it's a shit show. Of course, we know that. But yeah, it's political. It's political in rank. There's no doubt about it. And I don't know. I'm going to let
Okay,
Randy take it. Go ahead, Randy.
go ahead, Randy. Then I have a question for you, Mike. But go ahead.
You know, I guess I'm the oldest one here. I think by a few
Thoughtful.
years. But I'm 66. But
I'm older than you.
oh,
And hey, Michael is older than you. Like
you
I said,
wear it well. No, but
podcast with Michael, but then
uh,
maybe next time he's older than you. So today he's older than you. But go ahead, Randy.
thank you. Um, I'm sorry. I'm old school. I guess maybe because my dad's in the military and I was in the military, and I just look at it this way: if you got 14 days, and at the same time of each day, a dozen or more 20-foot long drones flying over a military base that houses our F 22s, which is supposed to be one of the best planes out there, okay? And you allow them to fly over your military base for several hours and do absolutely nothing. Then in 6 months, a year, whatever, when that military base is blown off the map because China or Russia or someone has video of where everything is placed, where all the buildings are, the construction of the building, where the planes are housed, how they're housed, then we deserve that base to be blown away. Those drones, at the least, we have the ability to fly a plane up in the air, shoot a net at the drone, and bring the damn drone down to see who it belongs to and what its potential is as far as military weapon, as far as video or cameras or whatever. At least now you know where it's coming from. I'm still pissed off that that damn Chinese balloon flew over our entire country with camera taking video, and we waited until it flew over the ocean and shoot it down because we didn't want to hurt anybody. But yet now, for the entire week or so that it flew over, China has all this damn video of everything they ever wanted to look at, and including the lady changing her, into a bikini on the pool side.
Okay.
I'm sorry. The damn things should have been shut down, or at least our jets fly and behind our helicopters fly behind to see where it finally lands, and then take them. I'm sorry.
Okay. I would
Biden is a
agree that
worthless commander in chief.
right, he is. Which is why I'm saying he should have been dragged before the House and Senate committees that impeach a president and explain to them in this particular case again, and they could say, you did the same thing under China, and we didn't impeach you then. You need to explain to us why you took the action that you did and gave a stand down order if you knew this was a threat to the United States. And impeachment at this point really is a bluff because, as Michael just said, Biden hasn't been the president for a long time.
Well, then impeach Kamala. She's president.
Well, okay. You can impeach a
fire the generals, impeach the presidency,
right.
And protect our country for God's sake.
I understand that. Maybe, but I have said this for a long time, but everybody tells me it's wrong to do it. I believe we need to remove the commander-in-chief title from the president because the commander-in-chief goes back to when George Washington was the commander-in-chief of the military, and he led the military on a horse into battle. And I don't see I don't see Joe Biden getting onto a starship and leading our Space Force into space to take down drones, especially if one could fire and take him down. So, I mean,
I don't know.
we need to make that change. And Mike have to reconnect.
Yeah, and I think too the fact that it took a year for the information to come out, that shows you that someone was covering it up for over a year.
It's all moles. They have them everywhere. The implants are everywhere. Double edged swords, double nut spies. I mean, the sophistications we have. We could have actually we have people good enough to do this. We could have hacked the camera system and figured out exactly
There you go.
who was looking for what. Look,
I'm getting more
we
coffee.
are
I'll
in
be
a
back.
okay. We are in a country that has been set up to analyze, persuade, and manipulate a society of slavery to come forth into where we are now. And we're seeing some of the drastic moves that they used to take place, but it does go back to bloodlines. Does go back to bloodlines, and that's what it's about. Especially when you look at the presidencies, like even Clinton, the guy that ran to Canada for protection and asylum, not to be involved in the war, to become a soldier, but yet he becomes a president. I want you to look into the legacy of he is related to. This is key
Yes,
components of everything that matters as to how the dictation has occurred of the application to pursue the United States of America to give and protect under a bloodline, not under a humanity for a better future. So when you look at the whole aspect of this is how everything works. And because they seek bloodlines through DNA, it's because they want to go back to their roots and keep their roots in place. Even
right.
when there was a breakdown in the castle by the queen, who is not even a royalty by bloodline, then there was an agreement for money to help keep the queen funded for the rights for breeding. And unless you understand it and know it and trace those bloodlines and track that ancestry, this is the power. We're talking about who is the power in the United States and out throughout the world. And this is what we are now trying to do the better part of, because it's exposing the facts of the truth behind it and how they get away with it, how they can manipulate it, and why they control it. It's because it was a product of a new system, new way forward, as they call it, to give themselves back a heritage and to protect the bloodline. But again, a lot of people aren't going to look at that from a political side. But when you look into it from the first president of the United States, there is a connection to them.
Could I
So
ask you a
what we
question?
have to, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I look. I asked before I interrupted you, but did you just say that Elizabeth, whose father was a king, whose father was a Windsor, who was a king? Are you saying that the Windsors are not bloodline as far as being English royalty? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, it's half royalty. It's not full blood royalty. Yes, it's because
I know that Monmouth and Prince Philip is not a Windsor bloodline, and I don't know the it's said to be a prince. I've never followed it. Is he actually a legitimate prince somewhere, or
no.
is she
It's a
just
false narrative. It's a false narrative.
married because he married her?
Well, let's
What am I?
just say that the queen was only half blood to the royalty of
Okay,
who says they own the earth.
okay,
You have to remember
Yeah, I
back in the
mean, so
day. You have to remember back in the day, the kings and queens who would intermarry. They would marry into their own family members. You know, they would to maintain power or to extend their power, they would have another country's king and prince marry their daughter
Right.
or son, and they have all that mixed blood
Yeah.
going on between the countries.
Right. No, I know. I knew that Philip Mountbatten was not part of the English bloodline. I believe they said he was a prince of Austria, but I've always questioned, is that legitimate, that he's actually a real prince from somewhere who married into and produced children, or did she just marry the guy and because she was queen, he becomes a prince?
Well, my thought is they break the bloodlines and they're trying to repair the bloodlines. That's what they're actually trying to do before the whole future
Okay.
is prepared. Because look, this is going to sound really whack.
No, go
It's
ahead.
so weird, but the truth of the matter is, there was a time on this planet, and they have the writings of the proof that their ancestries were bloodline to an alien entity. And that
Okay.
was the mix of the blood. That's how the blood started. That's where the blood came from. And what they are trying to do now is repair those bloodlines. That's why, when I brought up, go look up Clinton's ancestry. You'll see it has to do with the Scots. It has to do with Dukes. It has to do, and that's why there was no punishment for him, and he was allowed to run for president, and everybody just overlooked it, even though you know he committed treason by running away from his uh, 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 his honorable duty to serve in the American wars, and he ran off. How did
Right.
so we could ask a lot of questions of who, what, where, when, and how, but this is just an example of how they protect one another. And when you think there's broken illegitimates, they are, and they're everywhere. It did happen. They're trying to repair that fragment to recreate that bloodline strength. And that's why they pay for breeding rights in families, including within the Windsor house, because they are trying to restable it and repair it to honor what they know their bloodline and where their bloodline truly came from. And they believe that they own this world. 13 families above. And there are 13 families above what people don't really understand. They just look at it, it's going to be Rothschild, Rockefeller, but yet there are 13 families above that. And they're the names that they don't want anybody to talk about. Orsini's is the one of them. And then you have the Columbiana, District of Columbia, Columbia Records. I mean, look, everything works in narrative for power, greed, money, authority, and control. So this is what we're really fighting about, and this is what the war is about. And they don't want Trump exposing that deepest part of the secret, because why? They want to keep ufology off the map, and how the ties of the
Right.
bloodlines are, and how they were created by what the Vatican does store in Vault 52, and what precious documents the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are probably holding. And they know this, but they're not going to allow us to share it. But we are doing a pretty good job exposing it. But coming back to the reality of where we are and what we are, I think that we have a really good system that is tired of a system that does no longer care about a bloodline, and they want to see it broke, and they want to
Right.
see it broken. And they are now coming to Trump's aid inside. There is money being dumped. There is verdicts being changed. Trump just got $454 million back. So pay attention to
Whoa,
what's
whoa, whoa,
really
wait,
going on.
I missed that.
Whoa,
Say
whoa,
that
whoa, whoa, whoa,
again.
whoa, 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 whoa! You,
I
I
missed
thought you
that.
said you're home. You
I
knew of a
don't.
hearing where Trump had to put up $450 million, right?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Well, I thought you said he got the money back.
He did. I said it clearly.
Okay, how did you get the money
No.
back?
Okay.
What did I miss?
A judge.
Okay, so
Michael, please come back. Michael, explain to Randy where the 450 million that Trump just got back. I think that's the question he was asking.
I knew he had to cough up the money because of the
Oh, that's
fake
right, New York.
crimes against him. But how did he said he got the money back?
Yes, there's a court order for the money to be returned.
How?
But wasn't it
Damn.
four?
How the hell did I miss that?
Wasn't it 454
I don't,
million?
yeah, something like
Wasn't
that.
it
Yeah, roundabout figure,
million?
454 something. Yeah, it
Okay,
was
so we
an
lost.
agreeable amount. Yeah,
We
so
got
basically, basically what we're seeing is a verdict overturned. Another win for Trump. Why is this happening? It's because there are moles even in that side of power and money above presidencies, above rulers. And they have as much money and they're tired of a system, they're tired of a narrative, they're tired of the human construct being destroyed. And Trump is collecting and gathering. And they come from Russia, they come from Europe, they come from Asia, they come from China. These are royalties. They really are. Just because they look different, don't let that manipulate you. There are bloodlines throughout the entirety of the world, but there are some of them who are just going along and pressuring the negativity that comes out of the administration of Washington, the once was power, only to disturb what they're doing to give us more credence of what we can do. And we do have some help going on here, but it's still going to come down to the integrity on November 5th and the people that come out and show up. And a little bit more than that, now we have to worry about a complicated matter where the administration wants to see certain parts of Florida, certain parts of North Carolina, certain parts of Tennessee be able to have a 90-day extension. And nobody wants to see on November 6th, we have to wait 90 days because these people are missing in action. Their homes have been destroyed. They are utilizing every plan of policy that they can to come up with, including the fact yesterday it came out a third attempt that was blocked in its tracks against Trump was about to take
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, and the guy had multiple forms of ID on him too. So, you'll probably find out the guy's probably from some other country.
Double agent, more than likely, yeah. I mean, but hey, it's all about money. And me personally, I don't know why people are taking the risk.
Hey, this be interesting. If this dude turns out to be, let's say, from Iran or some other country, Biden said that if Iran tries to take out Trump, it'd be a declaration of war. So it'd be interesting to see if he follows through on it.
Yeah, I get what but they have to prove. They have to prove beyond a shadow of a.
Okay, well, we lost Michael. I didn't know we lost. We've had some bad freezing today. So, Michael, please come back and we'll bring you back in as soon as you come back. I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, as much as
weather is bad between us and wherever Restream is and you guys, or not. But yeah, we have had some freezing going on. But go ahead, Randy.
I mean, it seems that you talk highly of Restream, but it seems that whenever Michael or another individual tries to get on, there's always all kinds of issues. Is it the point that people are watching and listening and trying to keep us from talking about certain topics?
Randy, I can't really tell you. If Facebook create havoc with the link plugged into Facebook, that's something they can do. Do they want to do it? I don't really know. Can they make a link that I send someone on Messenger not work so that they can't use it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why? Because in Michael's case, they've done it. One day I can send him the link on on Restream or StreamYard, and it would work fine. The next day I couldn't send it to him on Messenger. I had to email it to him, and it worked fine. And the next day paperwork on either one. Yes, the can mess up the engineering of a live broadcast and wreak all kinds of havoc if they really want to. That's why everybody seems to be in our circle seems to be either leaving Facebook or adding somewhere other than Facebook than they are. In our case, it's YouTube.
Yes, it's a shame that you have an owner of a company that hates those of us on the right so much that he's willing to uh, step over the First Amendment right and prevent us from talking. Now, I can understand if we're sitting here talking about, and I won't say it, but certain very hot topics that would make us appear to be worse than an American. And I won't say, it's a shame I have to watch now, what I have to say, because I just had an experience with Facebook that no one should have gone through. And now I got to try and rebuild all my
Yeah,
followers and all my friends. And
yeah, you
this is
did.
bullshit.
You
If
did.
there's a way for me to get away from Facebook, I'm going to find it and
Well,
I'm going to do it.
well, do you have a YouTube channel?
Well, yeah, the YouTube is
Okay,
connected to Facebook.
doesn't have to be connected to Facebook. You link your YouTube channel to StreamYard or Restream, whatever you're using. I had it connected to. I had it connected to StreamYard. I have it connected to Restream right now. So we're on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and we're on Facebook. Or
Yeah,
the
I definitely have a YouTube
the
channel.
thing is, on the $19 a month package, you have 3 destinations. You can change them at any time. Today we could be on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble if I had it. Tomorrow we could be on Facebook, YouTube, and Street Lock if I plug Street Lock in. Uh, it's always until after election and we see who Trump. It's the way we get treated by Facebook. You're doing a broadcast or you're a conservative patriot on, or you have a business that's owned by a conservative patriot who doesn't support people. It gets worse for us patriots in an election year going into the election. It usually dies down afterwards, regardless of who gets elected. I read today that Mark Zuckerberg is pushing Biden administration for a verification of age and an ID to use the internet. I don't know how it's going to be
He's being he's being forced to do that by Congress.
well, okay. Congress doesn't have really the authority to do it. I mean, they can say because where it's going to end up is right. The article that I read, it'll end up at the Supreme Court because people who are saying that this is what Facebook wants to do are looking at it from the point of view that Facebook is simply going to use it to block people they don't want on Facebook. John, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is going to look at them and go, that's already there. If you don't want conservative patriots on Facebook, you change from being a public forum to being a publisher, and you can kick everybody on Facebook off of Facebook that you don't want on there, and no new member will be able to join Facebook if you don't want them to join it if you're a publisher. Then Zuckerberg comes back and goes, oh, no, 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 no. I have liability, so I don't have to do that. Then I'm hoping another justice will look at him and go, BS. Your liability is the same liability that a publisher has, that if someone posts something on a publisher website and it turns out to not be true, the publisher can't get sued because something was posted on their website that wasn't just like if you publish as a newspaper publisher, a newspaper and it turns normally print a retraction that said, whatever wasn't true. And they bury it so that you won't see it because it's. But that's the protection to being a publisher. A public forum simply says everybody has the right to use a public forum, freedom of speech. There is no fact checking, and Facebook keeps getting away with fact checking because the FCC, who has slapped Facebook and say, no, you're not allowed to have fact checking. You're not allowed to do this. Or if you keep doing it, we're going to seriously fine you and do it. And it's not going to happen because the current FCC chairman was appointed by Biden and approved by Congress. Excuse me, approved. They're not going to do anything that the rest that people want them to do. They're going to do what their party and their president tells them to do, which is terrible. Party politics, as I said before, should be removed from certain positions within the government because it's just wrong. If your president doesn't want to do something that you want to do that's in the benefit of American citizens, you don't do it because your president's telling you not to do it, or you do it and then hope that your president doesn't remove you.
Yes, well, I have got to get going. My time is up.
I apologize
I
for getting wired up at you this morning. I think we're both, like Michael said, we're both on the same page. We're in the same chapter. We're just coming to it from slightly different pages.
No, I might disagree with that, but that's what makes for a good conversation. Is disagreeing with other people's thoughts and comments. I just think that no one. First off, it took a
it's
year.
fun, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, first off, it took us a year to figure it out, but to learn that many drones are able to fly over a military base and not be shot down, not be captured, not be followed back to its original source, tells me that either our government is so damn weak they can't respond to it, or they don't care about the security of the people on the base. I mean, if you had, first off, they should have never got that close to a military base. Let's just say, worst case scenario, this dozen drones had some type of military weaponry built into it. Those 12 drones just flew over two other secured areas to get to the military base. They could have done extreme damage to that base before they are shot down or ignored. And I just think that's just bullshit. I'm sorry, that's just the way I feel. And
I'm just guessing that they did it using the Chinese did it with the weather. They see what would happen.
Right, they want to see the response. And they got the response they wanted, which was none.
And Biden did the same thing. Nothing.
So now,
it's a stand order with the military file. Congress should have immediately gone into emergency session because I don't think they come back until after the election. They should have gone into emergency and looked at what do we have against a president who, for all we know, is put in a situation
yeah,
may have to what have to do. Mike Johnson is Speaker of the House. They have the right to put a measure that hey, in that's what you have to do. Try to identify it. If you identify it, try to contact that guy. Get it out of here. Well, they should out of
yeah.
But it's over now. Yeah, face of reconnaissance ship in there to grab it, bring it in, and investigate it, so that whatever it collected didn't get it. But there's probably on the ground watching the data that it's collecting.
Yeah,
That
that information is on the dark web somewhere. I think this is where we do this. Blah, 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 blah.
well,
I don't know. I just don't understand why we would allow it to
but
happen. But
these things are going to keep coming up until January 5th. Or January 5th. That obviously people get to wait and see that Kamala Harris was Joe Biden's vice president for 4 years. She didn't do anything or help him do anything to prevent occurrence. Now, drones, first time weather balloons. What I've said is, do you really want a president who is most likely going to do Trump? Like I said, I think Trump would have been on the phone to Putin or Ping, whoever, and said, turn around or behind the sky.
yeah, that's true. You put the recall on the drones. If they're not out of my airspace
Right.
within the next 10, 15 minutes, then we're going to shoot them down. I mean, we had the capability of shooting them down. I'm sorry, we should have shot them down and then worry about the aftermath after the fact.
Well, that's what.
But
Well,
they
but,
didn't do that.
my trying to get it out of international water. Land a terror fix to land in the United States and cause it doesn't necessarily cause China want to move to the next step to move to a step of war. If we find out that it's not them, get our money back to the United States, and Trump has a different, treason before a military tribunal is different than treason before. But anyway,
That's what I gotta get going.
You got to get going. I got to get going. I appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Is Tuesday. You're welcome to join us at 7 if you're around Wednesday.
There you go. We'll see. See ya.
All right. All roads lead to home genealogy. You go to the Randy Rhodes page, look it up. Jim, he'll message you back, answer the 5 questions, and in 15 minutes, you can go from there. Michael Anthony joined us. You see his broadcasts all over Facebook all the time. Watch them, learn, take part, comment. But I actually learn something. Sometimes. Saturday, there was no Saturday broadcast, so Jerry instead the American page is throughout Facebook. That and when we're back on Tuesday, we are live on the Dave Gordon profile with a live chat. With a live chat. Right now for us, the third. Anyway, Monday Morning Caffeine, a Coffee Broadcasting Company. We didn't violate anything. So have a blessed